next fight card, what, the Saturday after?
Yes, this was the Saturday fight card. Figueiredo versus Benavidez 2. Should we just start with this main event here?
Yes, because like I didn't really care who won. Like I didn't feel like I was rooting for either guy. I just was like ready to watch a good fight.
Yes.
And then after the first punch landed, I just couldn't help myself but just go, come on, please, Joseph. Like, I just started screaming at my TV going, please, come on, Joseph, you got this. Like, I just couldn't help myself. It looked like a bigger brother beating up on their little brother, dude.
Yeah. Well,
it was bad.
And I had saw the size difference. Like, Davidson Figueiredo could very well be a bantamweight.
And be a big one.
And could even one day potentially move up to featherweight. And I'm not joking around,
That's
man.
crazy.
I mean, he's huge. He looks like a skeleton when he cuts to fly. I don't know how he makes 125. I don't know how that's even humanly possible that this guy makes that weight.
I mean,
but
it's just
he did.
He's sucking his brain dry.
I know.
Like, dude, there's not a single drop of water in that man's body.
Well, and what out of like the last 7 fights, he's had 6 finishes. Like,
Crazy.
you don't see that sort of consistency in the flyweight division. No. Not finish wise. Yeah. You see a lot of these flyweight fights go to decision, especially these title fights. Davidson Figueiredo, man, is and it sucks that he's in the flyweight division because there's a ceiling to how high you can get. But man, if the UFC markets this guy right, he could be one of the stars. Like
Jose Aldo, the next Jose Aldo, absolutely, dude. He's going to be a dominant Brazilian champion. Remember, his one loss was to Formiga, and he got caught.
Yeah.
It fucking happens, dude. He got caught with a big right, dropped him, got TKO'd. Yeah. Dude, it happens. This man is still a fucking savage, and I think he is the best 125er in the world, without a doubt. This is obvious. Like, you can't always say that the champion, this guy right here, is the best person in this division. Sometimes you can't always say that. This case, you most definitely fucking can.
Yeah. What do you think about what he had to say afterwards? Because Dana White, after about 2 years now, has finally came out and said, all right, the flyweights are staying around, right? But then you get Davidson Figueiredo on the mic, and technically his translator, but translating what he's saying, and he calls out 2 people. First, he calls out DJ, who's not even in the organization.
The one.
Which I understand. I get it, because if you want to fight the best in the world, but he's not even in the organization. And then he calls out the retired Henry Cejudo, Triple C. So it's like, either like, if you're trying to build a division, you cannot be calling out guys who will not fight you. You just can't do it. And Henry Cejudo's not going to cut down to 125 if he does come back.
Never, dude.
Never. So it's like, dude, you got to be a little bit smart. You could call out a guy like Brandon Moreno or something like that, but do not call out retired guys or guys fighting in other divisions. I just thought that was a terrible move on his part. I do understand from a fighter's perspective why he would want those fights, but you got to be thinking about building your division so it doesn't go away. Like, you have worked so hard your entire career to get to this point. You had the devastation of this last time, fighting Joseph Benavidez, not making weight, being 3.5 pounds off, and then going out and starching Benavidez in the second round?
Yeah.
You know? And then he
comes
that was
out first round. Oh, no, that was first fight. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. And then coming out in the first round and just absolutely dominating. And, hats off to Joseph Benavidez, too, because I thought he was done a minute and a half, 2 minutes into this fight, and the guy's got so much heart. And I've heard nothing but great things in the UFC community, MMA community, about Joseph Benavidez. But, dude, man, Figueiredo is on another level.
Yeah, it's scary.
It's just so impressive.
It's scary. If you're a flyweight right now, dude, you should be fucking shaking in your boots a little bit, because this man is going to be champ for a very long time, as long as he can keep making weight.
Yeah.
I see maybe 1 or 2 title defenses. So apparently Brandon Moreno called him out on Twitter, and he replied. He said, be ready in fucking, I think it was October or November. He said, be ready. Be ready. I'll fight you in November. So, yeah, there you go. I think he gets 1 or 2 title fights, defenses, and then he moves up 135.
He has to.
He has to, dude. That cut's killing him. I don't know how he makes it. He'd be a savage at 135. I really think he could easily just be put right in the top 5 and still compete with anyone.
Well, and I kind of feel right now for the flyweights, I kind of feel like that's the move. If you're a flyweight champ, you're probably younger, newer in your career. I mean, in most cases.
Still able to make the weight.
Still able to make the weight. But at some point, you make that transition to bantamweight. And, man, man, I mean, looking just at the top 10, I mean, we could even go top 13, top 15 for the bantamweights. It's looking a lot of fun. And in 2 or 3 years, after Davidson Figueiredo defends his belt 3 or 4 times, all those matchups just look so enticing. Yeah. It would just be a lot of fun. So I am so looking forward to Davidson Figueiredo's career.
Yeah, I'd love to see a Formiga rematch. I would love to see that fight over again. Why not? Formiga, but Formiga's had a couple L's, so it's like he's going to have to work his way back up.
Yeah.
So, and Formiga's another big 125er, dude. It's like, whoa.
He is.
I mean, I get it. This is men's livelihoods and stuff like that. But, guys, we don't need to be killing ourselves to make this fucking weight. Like,
I know, man.
Just get scrap 125, add a 65 and a fucking 95. Why not? And just, why not? We get more super fights, dude. You could have more double champs. It's so ridiculous to me, like, why that's not even an option.
There has to be a strategical reason why they don't, but it has never been explained. Therefore, it doesn't make any sense to me. I just don't understand why you wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
because all these guys can make, I mean, obviously all these guys are, barring 1 or 2 maybe, they're all big enough to fight at bantamweight.
Yeah, well, and they cut most of, like, let's be real, when we thought this division was getting scrapped 2 years ago, they cut most of the natural flyweights.
Yes, they did.
They cut all those guys that were actually killing themselves to make weight.
Right.
So it's like now they just have dudes that are killing themselves to make weight. So it's at any moment they can go, all right, fuck it.
Yep.
And just move everybody up. They really can at any moment. They're just waiting for something to happen. And it didn't help that we didn't have a champion for so long. Like, there was no defenses. There was no nothing, and it didn't help the Figueiredo miss weight the first time.
That was
just crazy.
Sucked.
It was just a crazy situation, but it's all resolved.
It is.
It took some time. I feel bad for fucking Benavidez, like you're saying, dude. I really do. Like, and plus they did that camera shot of Megan. Megan's kind of crying, like trying not to cry and stuff like that. Yeah. Like, it was just, he was trying so hard not to cry in the post-fight interview. Like, that man is just so classy.
Well, I mean, he knows this was his 4th title defense,
it was his
including
last.
Including the last Figueiredo fight, and he knew it was his last. He knew he would never. So again, where does Joseph Benavidez go in his fight career?
I wouldn't be surprised if he moved up to bantamweight. That's what I think he needs to do. He's one of these guys that is also killing himself to make 125. I used to give him so much shit about his weight cuts and how he used to look.
But with all due respect to Joseph Benavidez, do you think he's big enough to compete with those 135 savages?
Like Aljamain Sterling, like, think about it. That man probably should be fighting at 145. He's fucking huge.
Right.
It's fucking huge. But I think he can, dude. I think he still has the skill set, but it's just, he's not the best in the world at 125 anymore. There was a moment in time where you could argue that he was the absolute best in the world at 125 inside the UFC, because DJ. There's always the asterisk of DJ.
Right.
But,
Triple C beat him. I don't know if I'm on that train. I don't know if I entirely agree with you.
Yeah.
I have a hard time believing that, you hook up Joseph Benavidez against even a top 10 guy, like a Jimmy Rivera just coming off that win. That's not good news for Joseph. I see it happening the same way Davidson Figueiredo.
Yeah, but John Dodson competes with these guys and fights with these guys. Right. And, like, that's an example of a guy who's just small. Mm-hmm. Like, this man used to make 125 too, and he'd realize, fuck, man, I may be 5'1.5". He makes sure he gets that half in.
Right.
But, fuck, it's still killing me to make 125. It's just not worth it. I don't think these guys need to be killing themselves to make weight. I know it sucks because you get guys that are killing themselves to make 135, like, murdering their bodies. I think fucking Marlon Moraes needs to be a 145, like, ASAP. Aljamain Sterling, you can probably make the argument for too, but I've never really heard out of Aljamain Sterling's camps that, like, his cut is so terrible that it's murdering his body. It could be.
And he looks fresh every fight too.
Absolutely.
He looks just fine.
Absolutely. So I don't know. I guess only time will tell. I really feel bad for him because I just don't see him getting beneficial matchups.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I mean, even if he does get top 5 contenders again and again and again, it's not going anywhere. He's never getting the title shot. And it's so unfortunate for him, man. I wouldn't be surprised if he moves up to 135 or if he retires. Like, it's just, at some point, like, he needs to just sit down and goes, dude, is it worth getting fucking choked out like that? Like, is it worth taking the damage over and over again? When, I bet you he could have a pretty good career. He gets to hook up with Megan. He could probably be a commentator or something like that. So many people are transitioning out of the sport and finding ways to still make income while still being part of their favorite sport,
Yeah.
Being part of the thing. So,
only time will tell. And he's well-liked, too. So.
Yeah, everyone loves the guy.
But, man, hats off to Figueiredo. Hell of a performance.